to the bookshelf Christmas special. Today I'm going to read you a story from this beautiful book, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This is a beautiful book. It has beautiful illustrations by Lee Crutup. You'll see those as I read the story. Let's begin. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. There once was an old, lonely man with a cold heart. He spent his days counting his money and was so mean and miserly and thoughtless that no one wanted to be his friend. His name was Ebenezer Scrooge, and on Christmas Eve, his life was about to change. "Be off, I don't want your whining carols here," shouted Scrooge at the small choir outside his office window. He returned to counting his money. "Bah, humbug," he grumbled. "Fools! Christmas is never good for anyone. Look at Marley, my business partner. He died 7 years ago today. Don't you agree, Cratchit?" "Oh, yes, sir, 7 years ago." Bob Cratchit rose from behind his desk. "No, you fool! About Christmas! Not good for anyone!" shouted Scrooge. He watched Cratchit collect his coat and hat. "And I suppose you want tomorrow off?" "Well, yes, sir, if that's all right with you, sir. It's only once a year." "You won't get paid for it," Scrooge interrupted. "And you need to make up the time next week." When Bob Cratchit arrived home, his family gathered to greet him. Especially excited was Tiny Tim, who was holding a small star. "Father, you're just in time to lift me up to put the star on the tree," he said. "And what a grand star it is," said Cratchit, as he put Tiny Tim on his shoulder. When his son placed the star on the tree, Cratchit realised how rich his life really was. Meanwhile, as Ebenezer Scrooge unlocked his front door, he noticed an unnatural glow around the door knocker. Jacob Marley's face stared back at him. With terror in his eyes, Scrooge gasped and fell back, startled by the image of his old business partner. When the image vanished, Scrooge fled into the safety of his house and bolted the door behind him. Once in his bedchamber, Scrooge changed into his night clothes. The cold air hit his bones as he lit a small fire. Huddled in his armchair, Scrooge heard the sound of clanking chains. It grew louder, just outside the room. Scrooge shrank back in terror as he saw the glow of bony hands wrapped in chains coming through the door. When the ghostly figure filled his presence, Scrooge recognised him immediately. "Marley! Marley, what do you want of me?" cried Scrooge. "I wear the chains of the meanness I have forged in life, my punishment in this afterlife." Marley moved menacingly towards Scrooge. "My time here is short, but I offer you a chance to escape my fate. You will be visited by 3 spirits throughout the night, in the hope that you may avoid your miserable future." Before Scrooge could respond, the ghost of Marley swept through the bedroom window and disappeared from sight. Scrooge crawled into bed, too scared to put the candle out. He pulled the blanket over his head and lay shaking in fear of what may happen next. Sometime later, the church bell struck 1 and startled Scrooge from his dozing. He peeped out from under his blanket and saw light glowing from the floorboards. The light rose and formed into a young boy with features similar to his own. "Who are you?" asked Scrooge, trembling. I am the spirit of Christmas past, answered the figure. Come, walk with me. Suddenly, a blast of light surrounded Scrooge, and instantly the room was filled with moving pictures inside huge frames. Scrooge gasped as he recognised himself as a young boy in school. The spirit took his hand and led him through the picture. That's me in my old school, pointed Scrooge, choking back the tears as the loneliness engulfed him. A child neglected by his friends. And what of your family? Asked the spirit. Scrooge turned and saw his beloved sister sitting beside him. Fanny was always so gentle and so kind-hearted. She died years ago, whispered Scrooge, who remembered how much she had loved him. But she wasn't the only one who had loved and cared for you, said the spirit. The spirit led Scrooge to a picture of a Christmas when he was a young apprentice at Feswick's company. Scrooge remembered what a jolly old man Feswick was. He never had much money, old Feswick, whispered Scrooge, but he always wanted the people around him to be happy. Scrooge hung his head as he recalled how he spoke so unfeelingly to Bob Cratchit. Yes, said the spirit, money can never replace the happiness of being admired and loved by those around you, just like it didn't for you and Belle. Scrooge saw his beautiful Belle, whom he was engaged to long ago. I replaced her love with money, Scrooge uttered sadly, and then turned around angrily. No more, spirit, take me away from here. Scrooge fell into a fitful slumber when the spirit departed, but soon woke to a thunderous announcement. Wake up, my apprentice, called the spirit of Christmas present. Scrooge looked up to see the face of his old master. Mr. Feswick? Come, we're going for a little ride. Before Scrooge could respond, the bed rose high and sailed through the narrow streets of London until it hovered at the home of Bob Cratchit. This is all your loyal clerk can afford from the pittance that you pay him, Ebenezer. Scrooge watched Tiny Tim hobble on his crutches to the dinner table, his face filled with happiness. Scrooge's eyes filled with tears. Such courage and bravery for one so small, muttered Scrooge. Tell me, spirit, will this innocent child be spared? Alas, Ebenezer, unless something is done to help the boy, there will be an empty chair at the Cratchit's dinner table next Christmas. A tear ran down Scrooge's cheek as the spirit returned him to his bedchamber. No sooner had Scrooge returned to his bed when a whirl of white dust swept through the room and formed into a small female figure. When the dust settled, Scrooge recognised the face of his sister. Oh, my dear Fanny, exclaimed Scrooge, happy that this last spirit might offer him some tenderness. Brother, I have loved and cared for you all my life, but now a choice is upon you to spare you from the fate that lies behind this door. As Scrooge saw his name on the tombstone of his untimely death, he dropped to his knees and begged, No, no, please not me, dear sister. I am not the man I was. I will never forget the lessons of this night, and I will keep Christmas in my heart all year through. Scrooge clutched the spirit's robe in desperation. Tell me that the things I have seen can be changed. As with everything in this world, Ebenezer, the spirit responded, it is the choices you make which define you. And the dust returned, rising from the ground surrounding Scrooge, and then vanished into the air. On Christmas morning, Scrooge woke, happy to have a second chance. His first good deed was to visit the Cratchit home. Scrooge arrived with food and presents for everyone. He promised Bob that he would send Tiny Tim to the best doctors to make the boy well again. Money was no object. Ebenezer Scrooge had finally learned his lesson. And that was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, a story written over 100 years ago. Now I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and Santa is good to you. Now remember, Santa knows who's been naughty and who's been nice. So Merry Christmas to you and your family, and I'll see you next year. Bye.